Reggae is the sound of the soul remembering its roots, a gentle rhythm guiding us back to love, truth, and oneness. And this is a quote from yours truly, Scotty. And this quote addresses one of the main reasons I created Hippie-Fari, the beautiful, life-changing message of reggae music. It was created for social change, and its message is as strong today as it was in the 60s when the first reggae records were released in Jamaica. So welcome to another episode of Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast, recorded live in the Omen Honey Reggae Radio and Media Studios in beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida. I am your host, Scotty the High-Strung Hippie, and Hippie-Fari is a place where we discuss all things reggae. So if reggae music is your thing, you're in the right place. So tonight, we have a special guest in the studio. We are honored to have the Brooklyn-based reggae ensemble known for their soulful fusion of roots, dub, and conscious lyrics. Our guests have been making waves with their latest project, Brooklyn Riddim, a collaborative release under Easy Star Records. This Riddim compilation features our new single, Love and Humanity, and includes contributions from artists like Giant Panda Gorilla Dub Squad, Sailor Jane, and Kaz Haley. So in this episode, we're going to delve into the creation of Brooklyn Riddim, discuss the band's evolution, and get exclusive insights into their upcoming works. Plus, we're going to premiere 2 unreleased tracks from the next batch of Brooklyn Riddim series. So please join me in giving a huge welcome to Brooklyn's own SunDub. What's up? How we doing, Ben?
I'm doing good, Scotty. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely, 100%, man. Thank you so much for taking time out of your, I know your very busy schedule. You guys got a lot going on, so I definitely appreciate you taking the time out to come on the show and talk to us a little bit about it, man.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to end the week with this and chat with you a little bit.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you so much. So I'll kind of hop into it here. Definitely excited about this one. If you could just go ahead and tell us, how did SunDub come together, and what inspired the band's name?
So SunDub originally started as a weekly jam session, mostly like dub reggae in New York City, a very casual Sunday night dub series, hence the name SunDub.
Sure.
So yeah, it was a Sunday reggae and dub, just jam really. And over the years, it evolved from, that original super loose, fun jam session to where we are now with, original music and multiple releases and touring schedule and yada yada. So, but SunDub started as a community place to come together in New York and play reggae and hang. Really,
that's beautiful, man. We're all about community here. That's one of the most beautiful things about reggae is, it was built on community, and it does definitely bring people together. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
definitely. So how have I know you have 7 members in the band, is that correct?
Yeah.
How have your individual backgrounds influenced SunDub's sound?
Yeah, so SunDub has 7 people on stage. I'm the drummer. My name is Ben. My sister Joanna is the lead singer. Her husband Jose is our guitarist, along with our other guitarist Finnegan singer. And then we have 2 amazing keyboard players, Sydney Mills and Eric Toussaint, and our bass player, Derek Bourne. So SunDub is a unique band. It's multi-generational, multiracial, multi-genre. We have a lot of different influences. We are definitely a reggae band at the core of what we do.
Yes,
influenced heavily by the greats of Jamaican reggae since the very beginning. And we also have influences ranging from soul to funk, world music. Really, the influences are quite broad. But yeah, we heavily draw on R&B, funk, soul, even jazz to sort of influence our music. And we cover a lot of boundaries. But again, we're really based in the roots reggae genre and dub music genre as well. So we have a lot of variance in the members of the band, and everyone has a love for music, commonality in their love for reggae, but also varying tastes, a lot of which sort of moves in the direction of, like I said, funk, soul, R&B, and the like. So,
Right. Well, you guys have done an absolutely fantastic job bringing together, in my opinion and my wife's opinion, the right 7 members.
thank
Hearing
you.
your music on a streaming platform is one thing. Seeing you live is absolutely incredible. We got the opportunity to see you live a couple years ago, and we were just
Mm.
completely blown away. So, yeah, you guys, you nail it in the studio, but live is just an amazing experience that I hope everybody eventually gets to see. So
Yeah.
I know you are a Brooklyn-based band, and obviously, I'm sure you heard this before. You know, when people think reggae, they don't think Brooklyn, but this is cool. Like, in what ways has the Brooklyn culture? Because I know there is a ton of culture in Brooklyn. Like, how has that shaped your music?
Yeah. I think you're right. New York and Brooklyn maybe isn't the first place that might come to mind when, you're thinking about reggae. Especially over the last 25 years, we'll say here in the US, like the
Yeah.
reggae scene has exploded on the West Coast
Right.
and frankly all over the country. But, I think it's fair to say that the base of the reggae scene is in California here in the US.
Sure.
But New York, I mean, everyone knows that New York is maybe the most culturally complex and vibrant city in the country, if not the world. I mean,
Certainly.
it's the melting pot. So within that, there's a huge reggae tradition, a huge amount of people that come from the islands who've moved here from Jamaica, from the West Indies, from the Caribbean. So, I mean, New York has a really deep history of reggae music. It's the place that hip hop was started, which is very intimately linked to reggae and
Yes.
dancehall culture and
Mm-hmm.
Jamaican music. Hip hop wouldn't really exist, in my opinion, without reggae
Yep.
and the sort of sampling and experimentation that was happening in the studios in Jamaica in the early part of the genre in the 60s and 70s. I mean, that really, really influenced hip hop, dance hall.
Yes.
So New York has a huge influence in that way that, we're trying to make that known and shine as much light on that as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Do our due diligence to, you know, represent New York and its history.
Right.
And another thing about New York is like it's so dense. It's such a dense culture. Physically, it's dense. Like it's a huge city. There's, what is it? 12 million people packed in
Yeah.
literally a couple square miles.
It's amazing.
And so the way that music lives here is I like to refer to it as like a hyper regional scene.
Yeah.
It's such a dense area that there's so much going on. There's so much music, and a lot of it, frankly, doesn't leave New York, if that makes sense. Like there are bands that exist in Brooklyn that are incredible bands that play locally, have been doing it for years, have influenced major music movements in this country and abroad, but it's in New York,
Yeah, right.
and you're probably not even aware of it if you're even if you're into reggae as the genre at large. Again, it's just so dense that like I like to say, you're never gonna go and be able to eat at every restaurant in New York. There's too many, and
Oh,
by the
yeah.
time you get to one, another one is closed and another opens up. So it's just like that's sort of the same thing with music. It's like so dense, but there's so much talent, a huge, rich history, and yeah, we're trying to fly the flag for New York in terms of live reggae bands, touring reggae bands. Yeah, just represent New York reggae culture, Brooklyn reggae culture, and all the incredible music that's come out of here over the last 40, 50 years. I mean, it's so much. So
Sure. That's awesome. And I had the unique opportunity to be able to visit New York City. Got to go to Brooklyn. It was really cool. And went to a club, a merengue club, and got to hear El Sujeto and La Benda Negra. And it was
Very cool.
an amazing experience. The New York City experience was absolutely mind blowing. But like you said, just the music and the culture is absolutely incredible, man. I love it. I can't wait to go back. It's such a neat place, man.
Yeah, man. It's
So,
deep.
what was the inspiration behind Brooklyn Riddim, and how did the collaboration with Easy Star Records materialize?
Yeah, so we've been working with Easy Star since our past full-length release, which was called Spirits Eat Music.
Okay.
We worked with Easy Star to put that record out in 2022.
Okay.
And since then, we've been working with them, collaborating on them. We appeared on their newest tribute record, the David Bowie Ziggy Stardust tribute album. Easy Star has just been a huge supporter of SunDub since we really started to record original music and tour and try to bust out onto the national scene. So huge shout out to them. They've been amazing to work with and have been super helpful to get this music out to the right people, right DJs, tastemakers, and everything that a solid record label does. Easy Star has been helping so much. So got to send big love to Michael G and Lem and Eric at Easy Star. And in terms of Brooklyn Riddim, I mean, it sort of goes back to the very collaborative nature of SunDub since the beginning of the band. Like I said, we started as a jam session, playing with musicians that we wanted to play with and just sort of doing it for the love of music. And I'd say Brooklyn Riddim is really like the next, it's sort of the evolution of that, I guess you could say. It's hyper collaborative project. I mean, we collaborated with, was it 14 or 15 different bands on this project. So it was really about making something fresh, getting a different take on the music, sort of feeding into that whole community idea that you said, like, reggae is so built upon. This has also been a facet of reggae for a while, the whole rhythm thing. So
Oh, yes.
we're just excited to work with bands that we admire and artists that we admire and give them a chance to, make something out of the music we've recorded. And Brooklyn Riddim it's been a really fun project to just coordinate with all these artists and work on this big promotional thing together and market it together and get it out to as many people as possible. So not only does it seem to be massively expanding our fan base since we released the first 4 tracks like maybe 10 days ago.
Right.
But yeah, everyone is getting more love from this project. SunDub, everyone who's involved. Panda, Klata Bumbo, and Sailor Jane were the first 4 tracks that we had on this first batch of Brooklyn Riddim. So yeah, it's about making music with our friends and collaborators and doing it as pro as we possibly can.
That's an absolutely beautiful thing, and I think you nailed it with the name Brooklyn Riddim. I love it. It's simple. It sums it all up. That's where you're from. I love that. And if people have had a chance to hear the first batch, like you just mentioned some of the artists, Giant Panda Gorilla Dub Squad with African Incense, I believe was the name of the rhythm, correct? That's fantastic. But with the next batch that's not out yet, there is a rhythm that Loneliness and Love that you actually collaborated with Cass Haley on, and we have the unique opportunity to play that now. So I'm really excited about this, and thank you guys so much for giving us the opportunity to share this. So you heard it here on Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast. This is Loneliness and Loneliness in Love, SunDub and Cass Haley off the Brooklyn Riddim.
question holds me now. Might be floating, still bound. Deep reflection, carry on. Love's gravitation, holding strong. Mesmerized, struck by the chord. Hypnotized, 10 hands off the floor. Mesmerized, struck by the chord. Hypnotized as I'm reaching for more. Yeah. Days get noisy, nights grow long. Still I'm breathing, just can't move on. It's brand new beat in my heart. It's got me mixed up when we're apart. Mesmerized, struck by the chord. Hypnotized, 10 hands off the floor. Mesmerized, struck by the chord. Hypnotized as I'm reaching for more. Loneliness and love. Also see. By the chord, loneliness and love. Hypnotized, 10 hands off the floor. Loneliness and love. Mesmerized, struck from above. Loneliness and love. Hypnotized, oh I might be in love. Loneliness and love. Oh loneliness and love. Oh yeah. Ooh yeah. Oh, love, love, love. Oh, love, love, love. Loneliness and love.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Loneliness and Love. SunDub and Cass Haley. Man, that is incredible, dude.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
First of all, you guys nail it straight up. You know, in reggae music, the bass guitar is extremely important. That right there was, you know, evidence that you guys know exactly what you're doing when it comes to making a rhythm. I mean, that was incredible, man. What a fantastic track. Thank you so much for letting us play that. That had all the elements of, you know, just a fantastic rhythm. That was phenomenal. So I cannot wait for that to come out, man. I think that's just going to explode 100%.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And
shout out our bass player, Derek Bourne, for that.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, when it came in, it was, and the keys, you know, they just came in at the right time, and they hit that right note where it was just, yeah, that was just a great track.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
100%. And I am definitely interested in your collaborative process. You have a lot of artists that you worked with on this rhythm. And there's a lot to choose from. So if you don't mind kind of telling us, like, what was your selection process like? And then what was the creative process like? 'Cause it's a lot to work with all those bands, you know, like at one time. Or, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the selection process was really, like, when we had this idea for the rhythm, Cass was like one of the first artists that I thought of. We've collaborated with him before on a number of tracks.
Right.
So right away, we knew we wanted him to be on the rhythm. And really, input from the whole band sort of led us to the 14 or 15 artists that we have on the project. But yeah, they're all friends of ours. They're all collaborators of ours in some way. And we just reached out to people and said, hey, you know, we're doing this project, and the only reason we're reaching out is because we respect your music.
Sure.
And we respect you, and we want to work with you on this. So, again, the whole band was helpful in the process of figuring out who we were actually going to get on there, as well as Easy Star.
Right.
They had some great input and assistance in, you know, helping us get some different artists that they've worked with. And yeah, you know, from there, the creative process was really fairly straightforward. I mean, you know, we'd sent out the instrumental track to all these different artists, and everyone wrote their own lyrics and song over the music. We didn't send them our version of the song, which is called Love and Humanity.
Yep.
We sent it to them and just sort of gave them all the freedom and creativity and, you know, creative license to do whatever they want to do. And, you know, that's why we picked the artists we did, is because we are fans of them. So, you know, we knew that it was in good hands when we sent it away to these 14 or 15 artists. So, yeah, we received the files from them after they finished writing the tune. And then Sydney Mills and I, who Sydney's our keyboard player and has been co-producing SunDub since our inception of our original recorded music.
Yep.
Sydney is a legendary musician, figurehead in the reggae music scene, playing with, you know, virtually every reggae act from Jamaica and otherwise. Yeah, over the last, you know, 30 to 40 years.
Sure.
He spent a long time with Steel Pulse.
Yep.
Maxi Priest, Scottalites, Barrington Levy, Carlton Livingston. I mean,
Yep.
the list goes on, and Sydney's been incredibly influential in our sound and our mission as a band. And he mixed our first record, Burden of Love, and has been engineer and heavily involved in all the music, like I said, and really helped to shape this rhythm into what it is now. Sydney mixed all the tracks on the record, of course played keyboards and did some arranging and composing for the music. And, you know, just huge shout out Sydney, because he put such care and attention to each of these tracks and in everything that he does.
Sure.
But specifically for this, he was really focused and made sure to give each track something different. Because as you know, it's, you know, the music is, you know, sort of the same. The underlying foundation of all the tracks is the same. But in the studio and the mix process and the edit process and certain overdubs, Sydney really put a special touch on each one of these tracks. So, you know, when I was listening to that Loneliness and Love track you just played, I mean, first of all, shout out to Cass.
Oh, yeah.
Cass is an amazing vocalist, an amazing songwriter, an amazing person and friend of mine that I've been playing with and collaborating for over a decade. So, you know, the tune would be nothing without him, obviously. But shout out to Sydney for shaping that song in the studio into what it is now, what you just heard. The whole band's performance is amazing. Shout out our guitar player, Jose, for that tasty sort of flamenco-ish inspired guitar on that track.
Yeah, right? That was dope, man.
Which was a direct sort of order from Sydney. I remember we were in the mix sessions and he said, yeah, like, send this to Jose. We got to get acoustic on one of the tracks for just a little bit of a different vibe, different flavor. So that's a great example of how Sydney really just has a vision for everything he's doing, and
that's cool.
Goes the extra step to say, hey, you know, let's do this. Let's add this here. Let's add this here. You know, every one of these tracks is going to be unique, special, and, you know, have a little ear candy for our listeners as they play down 15 different versions of the same tune.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, it was a great process creatively. I learned a ton in terms of collaborating and strategizing how to roll this thing out and, you know, make it just make it work. Again, it's a huge project to interface and deal with 14, 15 artists. Again, shout out Easy Star for helping us sort of get through that process. And yeah, we're super happy with the project, man. Everything turned out amazing. It's a great list of collaborations.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm impressed because it's hard for me to get, 3 people together to go to dinner. You have a 7-piece band and working with 14 bands. I don't know how many people that is. It's a lot of people all coming together for one project, and you nailed it.
Thank you, man. Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. And again, we hand selected these people for all the reasons because we knew it would turn out. So
that's so awesome. Well, there is another one. It's called Realness that you collaborated with Visionaire on, SunDub and Visionaire. That's coming out on the next batch, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, and we have the unique opportunity once again to hear that. So, folks, once again, check it out before it's released. You heard it first here on Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast.
A visionary.
Rise them for I, Jah rise them for I.
Rise them for I.
Several days in the wilderness, away from all the mess, awaiting on my blessings, out in isolation, highest meditation, with Jah in conversation, all these preparations, oh yeah, I know the realness of Jah powers, yes I'm sure no evil could have never tested. I know the realness of Jah powers, yes I'm sure no evil could have never tested. Rise them for I, Jah rise them for I. Proven many times and many signs and wonders make them wonder if I was blessed from the womb when mama conceived, or I was anointed when I was just a kid. Don't spoil the rod and save the child. I know the certain things I have boundaries. Maybe they are forgiven all they trespasses, or maybe it's the goodness my ancestors did. Give account, Jah, come give account for me. All when my stomach empty and have a ounce of tea. I live by your words and your counseling, your mercies. I know the realness of Jah powers, yes I'm sure no evil could have never tested. I know the realness of Jah powers, yes I'm sure no evil could have never tested. Constant praises for the rest of my days and the rest of my life on earth in heaven. This conclusion is done every time I sleep and rise and Jah open my eyes. Oh yeah, I know the realness of Jah powers, yes I'm sure no evil could have never tested. I know the realness of Jah powers, yes I'm sure no evil could have never tested. Rise them for I, Jah never tested.
No way, no way, no way, no way.
Never tested.
No, never, 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 never.
Several days in the wilderness, away from all the mess.
A visionary.
Powerful lyrics, straight up.
Truly,
That was
truly.
awesome, man. Yes.
Yeah, I love that track. That's one of my
So do
favorites for sure.
I.
It's dope.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that right off the bat, I was like, this is fire. Yeah, once again, that bass is just phenomenal.
Mm,
Everything. You guys are on fire. This is incredible music, man. I'm not just saying that because you're on the
Thank you.
podcast, but damn, dude.
Thank you.
Very well produced. It's absolutely phenomenal reggae music. It makes me excited. It really does, man. If this is the future of reggae, then we're on a really, 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 really good track.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Absolutely, my friend. And let's talk about one, Love and Humanity. That's a beautiful track as well. Can you kind of share the story behind that track and kind of its significance in today's context?
Definitely. Yeah, so Love and Humanity is the title of the SunDub version on Brooklyn Riddim.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the first single from our upcoming album that we're currently working on as well. That will be released with Easy Star at the end of the summer. So separate release than the Brooklyn Riddim, but this song, is going to be the first single on that release. And yeah, this is a song that's been in the SunDub stable for... We originally recorded it in 2022 for our second album,
Right.
and it didn't end up making the cut. And then we went back and re-recorded it for this next record, and it turned into the track that is Brooklyn Riddim.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, in terms of the message in the song, it's really commenting on the very sort of hellish landscape that we're living in this country in a lot of ways. What we need is love and humanity, and there seems to be so much evil going on and so much exclusion, so many authoritarian and just people. The current administration is trying to put a vice grip around the necks of the American people and exclude the rest of the world from interfacing with us. And I mean, it's just it's a bleak time in a lot of ways when we look at where we how much progress we made through in things from immigration to abortion laws to a lot of the more progressive stances that America was moving toward, and then to regress into where we are now with the Trump presidency and all this really difficult stuff happening. This song speaks to that, it speaks to the nature of the change that we really need to see, the nature of how we feel like the leaders of the American people are eating us alive and, going to self-combust. I mean, there really has to be a lot done, I think, to get this country moving back into the direction. And the thing is that the people at large want this movement toward freedom and acceptance and all these things, but it's this minority of people that have control that are moving us in a dangerous direction. So Love and Humanity speaks to that very directly, and SunDub has always been a political band in terms of speaking out toward the things that we care about and believe in, for our rights, for peace, for justice, and all these things that reggae music really stands for, to rebel against, wickedness and things that are keeping people tied down. So that's what Love and Humanity is. Yeah.
Yeah. When I heard it, it's definitely a very revolutionary track.
Yeah.
I love that. I have a radio show. It's a weekly radio show. It's very revolutionary based. Reggae music is, that's why I love it. I've always been a child of a revolution. But yeah, the lyrics are very heavy. They speak heavily. They're very conscious, and Joanna's vocals are just incredible. On that. I mean, they're incredible anyway, but they really just kind of punch that song forward. You know what I mean? Especially with the message that it has. The way that she delivers it is just, it drives it home. Like, just kind of puts it in your face, and that's a really awesome thing. But she does it in a
Totally.
very beautiful, fantastic way, man.
Yeah, she has a unique voice, and I agree. It's like the grit of the song and the message really does match, like the tone of
Yes.
her voice.
Yes.
It's in your face, and
Yes.
I guess the last thing I'll say was that the lyrics were Joanna writes the majority of the lyrics, and she wrote almost all the lyrics for this tune, and they were written right after the insurrection on the Capitol a couple years ago on January 6th, where there was this revolt against the American people and our government. And this song is a direct sort of call to that situation that was written, maybe only hours or days after that. So that's specifically what we're referencing here.
Absolutely, and it's pretty cool. I talked to my wife about it quite a bit, and we feel like the revolution that people's hearts need to change. We hurt each other for no reason. We need to, as a society, just. I mean, one love is a thing, but we need. So the revolution that's going to take place it's people's minds are going to have to change. Because it starts with the thought process, and then the heart. But we have to change inside and just first and foremost start treating people better. And it definitely starts with that, in my opinion. So speaking of that songwriting, which absolutely fantastic song, thank you once again. What's your approach? Like, how do you approach songwriting and arranging it with the band, especially with 7 people?
Yeah, it's a good question. Again, I think we have a unique, sort of build and structure to this band. We have 7 people on stage, and of those 7 people, I don't think there's anyone in the group who is not a songwriter. So our songwriting process is super collaborative. Our keyboard player, Eric, the General Toussaint, is an incredible musician, incredible songwriter. He was really the one who pushed us to move from sort of a local jam session kind of thing to writing our own music, recording our own music. And our first album, Burden of Love, is named after the song Burden of Love, which is one of Eric's originals. So he's a huge cornerstone of the band and our songwriting and our creative process. And like I said, everyone contributes in the songwriting process.
That's
I'm
cool.
a songwriter. I actually wrote the original Riddim and music to Love and Humanity, and then brought it to the band, and we all sort of fleshed it out and added our own part, and sort of group composed it, if you will. But yeah, everyone in the band is a songwriter. Everyone in the band is a lyricist. Joanna, our guitar player, Finn, has wrote some incredible songs for SunDub, including Jump and Dance, which is one of our biggest sort of hits, you could say, featuring Luton Fire from our second album.
Yep.
That's a Finn original. Sydney, of course, I've already said how influential Sydney is in our process. He's been an incredible force in the songwriting world. Jose, Derek, everyone adds their part for songwriting. So I think that's what really makes SunDub unique, is when you look at our albums and our original music, almost everyone in the band is represented on each album and has contributed their own original compositions that then we sort of workshop and group compose with the band to turn it into SunDub music. And that's really why I think it's such a great, that's why I think the music is so great, because again, it's super collaborative.
Sure.
Everyone is pouring pieces of themselves into it, and everyone trusts the rest of the band members enough to, everyone trusts themselves enough to bring a song to the group and be represented. And, it's an intimate, songwriting is a super intimate process. You have to, you have to be okay with working with people and their tendencies and sort of what they like and don't like, and
Right.
compromising and all this collaborative, very high level sort of thinking and relationship stuff. And we're really lucky to be able to do that. I think it's sort of rare to have a band that really everyone kicks in that process equally.
Absolutely. And it's super rare to have a band, it's your sister, Joanna, and then her husband. I mean, you got a family dynamic going on, and you guys are still killing it. So that's
Yeah.
I mean, that's hats off to you, man. That's props straight up.
Yeah, that's what makes it work for sure. I mean,
Right.
it's a family band, and
Sure.
that's what keeps us going. Honestly, is like we're in this together for the long term to build something that we all believe in, and yeah, it's a family thing for sure.
That's a beautiful thing, man. 100%. So, and you just mentioned Luton Fire. So you've worked with some amazing artists, and Kaz Haley, we just heard before. And you said you've worked with Kaz for quite a long time. So how have these collaborations influenced your music?
Man, I mean, what is music without collaboration? Like,
Right.
It's you can only spend so long playing music by yourself. I mean, it's like, not only is it just gonna get boring, but like, there's something in music where when you're collaborating and creating with people, like in the moment, the sum of the parts is more. The whole is more than the sum of its parts. So like You're able to come up with something that you never would have been able to make on your own. It's just not. That's just not how the world works. Like,
I agree.
Creating things, especially something as like important and sacred as music. It's a spiritual process. I would say it's like something gets created from this collaboration and creation in real time. That's more than just 1 + 1 = 2.
Right.
So yeah, in terms of our collaborations, both within the band and then sort of extending across our sort of, nuclear family lines, if you will.
Right.
We're all about collaborating. I mean, that's what SunDub was built on, and we've had the incredible fortune to collaborate with some incredible artists since the inception of the group. The first one that comes to mind is Peter Morgan, and I gotta say R.I.P. to Peter Ja Peets Morgan from Morgan Heritage.
Yep.
One of the most legendary families in reggae music, the Morgan family, and one of the most influential and dominant bands in reggae music of all time, hands down. I mean, I remember listening to their music and just getting completely hooked by it.
Right.
Both the recorded stuff and then live. I mean, they're such an incredibly powerful group. And for us to have that pleasure and honor of working with PETA was probably the highlight of the SunDub journey to this point, I would say. Such an incredible voice, so beautiful, such an incredible songwriter. The things that he sung about are absolutely timeless, and the way that he carried that message will never be duplicated within this genre or any genre moving forward. And we're just, completely honored again to have recorded with him and been able to include him into this family in the way that he so graciously gave himself. I'm referring to the track New Ways to Love, which PETA was featured on in our second album, Spirits Eat Music. I mean, collaboration is who SunDub is, and some of our best songs are collaborations with other artists to, again, sort of create something that we never would have been able to create by ourselves. So, we wouldn't be where we are or who we are without that kind of collaboration.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome, man. I say it at the end of every single podcast. I put it in the video. The official podcast quote is there's strength in unity, build your community. And I am, myself and my wife, from our nonprofit to my podcast to everything I do is, yes, collaboration. I want to work with people,
Yeah.
who had the same vision, kind of shared, but, bring a different aspect. It's a beautiful thing because like you said, you can only go so far doing stuff by yourself. And,
Yeah.
I love the fact that you guys embrace collaboration so much. That's phenomenal, and it definitely shows in your music. So let's go to some, recording experiences. What was it like recording at the Lightgate Sound in Kauai, and how did that environment impact your album, Spirits Eat Music?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to Hawaii, but it's, one of the most incredible places
I
on
want to
the
go.
earth. It's incredible. It's truly incredible. Actually, the first time I was in Kauai was with Cass Haley. I was his drummer on the album More Music, More Family in 2015. And
Nice.
that was the first time I was out in Kauai at Lidgate Sound Studios. Shout out to Will Lidgate, who is living out there, working on and running his family chocolate farm in Kapa'a, Kauai, Hawaii.
Right.
That's where the studio is located. And yeah, we got to go out there. I remember it was like the thick of COVID in 2021, and we were getting ready to figure out like where are we going to go record. Like, we're not touring right now.
Right.
We want to stay active. We want to make new music, and Hawaii had super strict travel
guidelines,
restrictions. Yeah, at the time, like they were not letting anyone on the island, and you had to do all kinds of heavy testing. And something that's Kauai is such a special place. First of all, it's 6 million year old island.
Right. That's wild.
These are like nerd Hawaii facts. Hawaii is just my quick facts here. Hawaii is like the place on the earth that's the farthest from anything, right? So it's the most remote place on the planet. The big island
really
of
cool,
Kauai, the big island of Kauai, Mauna Kea is basically encompasses the entire island, big island of Hawaii. Mauna Kea is the tallest mountain from base to top on Earth, taller than Mount Everest.
Really?
Now, half of it is under the sea.
Underwater. There you go.
Yes, but it's an incredible place.
That's neat.
It has every microclimate represented on the Earth in that one island, and it's the youngest island in the chain. I'm almost done here, guys. Forgive me.
No, you're good, man. Rock it out.
But it's lit. The volcanoes are spitting out new earth every day. So where you have Kauai, which is at the other end of the Hawaiian island chain, is a 6 million year old island it has the wettest spot on Earth in the jungles of Kauai. And then on the other hand, you have Big Island, which is literally expanding and growing every single day from the lava that's coming out of the volcano and falling into the ocean. So it's like,
that's neat.
This place is, dude, you got to go to Hawaii. And I feel like it's one of those places too, because sort of like Puerto Rico, where, it's part of the U.S. And for some reason, because it's part of the U.S., it sort of almost doesn't get the recognition it deserves as being just absolute paradise. Hawaii is absolute paradise. Puerto Rico is absolute paradise. So, y'all, if you're thinking about going to Thailand or Bali or whatever, go to Hawaii because it's just as incredible, if not more incredible, than almost every place on Earth. So,
that's awesome.
We were in Kauai. We had the incredible fortune of being able to go to Kauai to record Spirits Eat Music. It's just a spiritual place, man. We brought the whole band there. We brought Sydney to play on the album and engineer with us. And there were no other visitors on the island at the time because, again, this is COVID. So, it's locked down. And we had to go through a rigorous testing, blah, blah, blah. And we spent 12 days in the studio and just worked on music, man. It's a roots reggae recording studio set up for the music that we're making, set
Sure.
up for that sound, analog, gritty roots music. Will Lydgate is an incredible friend and host and really made the whole trip possible for us. So shout out to Will. He also plays some guitar on the record as well. He played on Spirit Seat Music and The Storm, two of the songs off that record. Yeah, man, it was an incredible process to be able to exist in such a beautiful location. We're going to the beach. We're just living together, focusing on music, drinking cacao. Like, it was really a dream come true. I mean, we're really lucky to have had some of the recording experiences that we've had, ranging from Brooklyn to Kauai. And then for this new record, we were just as fortunate to go to Jamaica and record at the Tough Gong Marley Family
That's
Studios.
so dope, man.
So, yeah, we're incredibly blessed to be able to record around the globe in some of the, finest places on earth, really.
Sure. I'm so glad I asked that question.
Yeah.
I got to learn a little bit
more
about where you
Hawaii.
recorded, but you
Yeah.
actually straight up explained how that impacted the album. I mean, when you
Oh.
got there, kind of being alone, having the place
Crazy.
to yourself. I mean, you said that's definitely creating a spiritual vibe. So that, definitely
Totally.
came through in the music. 100%. That's neat, man.
Yeah, they say that in Hawaii, they say that the Big Island is where souls come onto Earth, and Kauai is where souls depart Earth. So we were in the, zone of departure, if you will. It's an incredible place. Really, truly changed my life.
That's really awesome, dude. Well, thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
I learned a little bit, and I love that.
Yeah.
So, let's kind of talk about your live performances, and we, obviously we just talked about your studio recordings. How do your live performances differ from your studio recordings, and what do you aim to kind of convey when you're on stage?
Yeah, I mean, I would say in terms of on stage, like, we're centered around Joanna. Joanna is the figurehead of the group.
Sure.
She's the voice of the group, and we, during our live performances, not only do we aim to, of course, have a good time and put on a show and, do all these things that make up a great performance, but we really aim to support her voice, support her performance, sort of, support her and build the music around her.
That's great.
React to the dynamics and the vibe that she's currently bringing. And yeah, we just try to have fun on stage. I mean, that's, again, it's like sort of goes back to the collaboration thing. It's like when you get 7 people on stage and it's clicking,
Oh, yeah.
and if you're a fan of music, like it's probably a little different for musicians and then fans of music who might not play, but probably not. It's like, sometimes it's just like hitting.
Yes.
Everything is just like locked in, and it's crazy because you can just feel that. You can feel the music just like settle down and like root into the vibe and
Right.
root into like the rhythm. And once, it doesn't, to be completely honest, it doesn't happen every night. And it's the sort of like elusive thing that almost like if you were looking for it and trying too hard to like
Right.
get this vibe, you're not going to get it. You know what I
Right.
mean? It just has to be that like feeling that it's going to, it just sort of happens through comfortability and enjoyment of performing and being on stage with their best friends and having this exchange with, not only internally, playing the songs with the band, but then to be able to feed off the fans and the crowd. And, you never know how music is impacting someone in the
Right.
moment, whether they're listening to it on headphones, but especially live. It's like, again, you're doing this thing in real time. It's not going to happen again ever.
Yeah,
That same
yeah, it's
way,
organic.
like it's just not going to happen. Like you can try infinite times to replicate that, but that's just not how it works. Like,
Sure.
recorded music is different. It's recorded. There's a record of it.
Sure.
But live music and the performance process and the creation process of playing live and experiencing live music it happens in that moment, and as soon as it happens, it's gone, and that's incredibly special.
Right.
And we try to have reverence for all of these things when we're playing music. We're really just grateful to be able to do this. We know it's our mission to be doing this, to be playing music with each other and for people who need this music as something more than just, something they put on in their headphones when they're taking a jog. Like, music is healing for many people. It's a vibration, it's energy, and
Certainly.
you can feel this. You can feel this, and especially when people who are receiving it and creating it are on that same level. It's a very unique and powerful experience, and I know I've had moments with music that just, there's something else going on. I mean, this is not just like, metal strings attached to a piece of wood with some electricity going through it. It's like, this is some stuff that's like vibrating through ourselves and, containing important messages and all this stuff that's like quite heady, to be frank.
Yes, man. 100%.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely. And I love that. The way that you just explained that was awesome, because it's, when you get to that point, sometimes it's almost like the fans are looking at you going, what do you have next? It's almost like a drug, they're wanting more, because you're in the pocket and it's an awesome experience that you've never had before. It's organic.
Yeah.
You'll never have it again. And it's spiritual, 100%. That's absolutely incredible, man. And we had the awesome opportunity to see you guys live a couple years ago at Cafe Da Vinci here in Florida. Heard you before, first time seeing you live. Halfway through the first song, looked at my friend Justin, my wife, and I was like, damn, it was just so awesome, man.
Thank you.
I love live music, but you guys definitely hold it down live. Fantastic job. So speaking of live music, do you have a memorable experience from a live show that resonated deeply with you?
Yeah, definitely. There's been a lot of SunDub performances that are memorable. Just to touch on a few of them. Really, the top ones for me that come to mind all really happened in Brooklyn, to be completely honest.
Right.
I guess I'll start with like the inception of SunDub, like I was talking about before, where we were just sort of playing weekly at a bar around the corner and just having fun, and collaborating with people and different musicians and inviting people up, vocalists, horn players, really anyone who could play and wanted to be part of the music. I really look fondly back on those days, and
Sure.
we wouldn't be here if we weren't doing that for the fun of it.
Sure.
We weren't doing that for the money or stream count or nothing. We were doing that because we wanted to play music. We wanted to play reggae music. So that was, those are the days. So shout out to all the local venues in Brooklyn that would host SunDub, Battery Harris Days, Pony Boy, the Williamsburg Hotel, all these places that we would play every Thursday or Sunday for like a month. I mean, not a month, a year straight, and just like have fun, meet people. And then sort of on the other side, but also happening in Brooklyn, we got to perform at the Brooklyn Mirage in September 2023, opening for a band called Cultura Profetica, which is a Puerto Rican reggae band who's absolutely incredible. We're huge fans of them and their music, and Brooklyn Mirage is an incredible music venue in Brooklyn, and it was a hometown show for us. There was probably about 5,000 people there, and it was really just a big just a big arrival for SunDub to be performing in front of that many people.
That's a lot of
in our
people.
hometown.
Yeah.
It was just a totally incredible show. Really one of the top experiences with the band I can think of. We had a full, normally we're on the road, we're 7 people. We're Joanna on vocals, 2 guitars, 2 keyboards, drums, and bass. That's 7. But oftentimes in New York, we'll perform with horns and a percussionist.
Right.
So for that show, we were 7 plus 3 horns and a percussionist. So that's 11 people.
11,
so
awesome.
we had the full expanded SunDub unit for the Brooklyn Mirage show with Cultura. And yeah, it was just like, it's a beautiful venue. It was packed. People were loving all the music, and just everything about the evening was just incredible. To be able to represent Brooklyn and play original music in Brooklyn for that crowd was an absolute highlight.
That's awesome, man. And
I'll just say one more real fast,
go for it,
just
man.
to shout out another incredible show that we had in Brooklyn as well. So the Brooklyn Bowl is my favorite venue in existence. We're coming up, about to play at the Brooklyn Bowl again this coming June on Saturday,
I heard that
June
on your
14th.
Instagram Live today.
Yeah,
Yep.
We're celebrating the Brooklyn Riddim release at Brooklyn Bowl on June 14th.
Sick.
But we've been performing there. First, we started opening for groups there, supporting groups like Steel Pulse and Easy Star All Stars,
Sure.
and a lot of the bigger touring bands. And then we had the extreme honor of supporting the Wailers at Brooklyn Bowl.
Yes.
At the first show after COVID happened, Brooklyn Bowl shut down for 2 years. We had the extreme pleasure of reopening Brooklyn Bowl, playing their first show back with the Wailers after COVID.
You can't beat that, bro.
Yeah, and it was top notch. I mean,
Sure.
I don't have to say anything about the Wailers. They are reggae music's most incredible legacy, and yeah,
Family man, baby.
Family Man,
Yeah.
the whole crew, Family
Yep.
Man, Aston Jr., everyone
Yes.
who's involved is just carrying the torch for the music that made reggae what it is today.
It's good stuff.
So shout out Brooklyn Bowl, shout out to all of our fans across the world and across the U.S., but really, we have so much love for the community here in Brooklyn and how they've supported us since the inception, and just we just love it. So Brooklyn Bowl is the place to be, and that's a great memory as well.
That's awesome. I'm glad you brought that memory up, man. That's phenomenal. And I have this discussion with my wife, quite often. There's certain bands that we just don't understand why they're not headlining massive festivals. You guys are one of those bands, and not to downplay any of these festivals, but you guys are just man, you're doing it right. Your production, your music, the amount of members you have in your band, just the fact that you're making music all the time, just it's quality reggae music. And I can't wait, for the rest of the Brooklyn Riddim to come out, people to hear what you're doing in the future, and get excited about SunDub, because this is reggae music. It's absolutely beautiful. You guys hit all the all the right spectrums, and it sounds absolutely phenomenal. And I think you should be headlining some of those huge festivals, man, because you guys, you're definitely deserving of it, and your music is just it's there, man, without a doubt. So what can fans expect from SunDub in the near future on top of the next batch of the Brooklyn Riddim? And I know you just talked about where you're playing. Is there anything else in the pipeline?
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. I'll start off by saying my sister Joanna, who is again the lead singer of the group, just had a baby. So I'm a first-time uncle. She's
Congrats,
a first-time
man.
mom, and like I said before, her husband Jose is also in the group. So we've had some big changes over the last half a year. We took a little time off the road to make space for that expansion in the family and give them all the time that they need to, go through that experience.
We got a new member of SunDub.
We have a new member of SunDub, exactly. Yeah, and that is no joke.
The rattles, babe.
no joke. He was less than a day old, and he was holding the rattle.
That's great, man.
But yeah, so we took a little time off the road from like the fall into the spring here. But we're about to hit the road actually this weekend for the first time in about half a year. We have 3 dates in the Northeast.
Nice.
We'll be in Rhode Island, Vermont, and Massachusetts.
Nice.
And it's the Brooklyn Riddim tour. So we're touring to promote the Brooklyn Riddim project and bring this music to all of our fans who we really haven't seen in, about half a year. So the Brooklyn Riddim tour starts this coming weekend in Pawtucket, Rhode Island at the Met is the first show, and we'll continue all the way through the summer, hitting majority of the major cities in the Northeast. And we'll also be going out to Colorado for the first time at the end of June into July. We're really, really excited to head out there for the first time and give some of our fans out there some love and some live music. And yeah, we're taking, we're getting back on the road in a slightly different format than we were before. As you said, we have a new member, but yeah, we're hitting the road. We're releasing a ton of new music. So Brooklyn Riddim Batch 2 comes out this coming Friday, 23rd of May. And then on June 13th, the last batch will be rolling out, completing the release of the project, aside from maybe 1 or 2 sort of special bonus tracks that will release at some other date. And right after that, we're going to start moving into the release of our new full-length original album that is currently, I won't divulge the name of that right now, but it's a whole new full-length release. We're going to be releasing it with Easy Star once again. This is the record that we tracked in 2024 at Tough Gong Studios in Jamaica.
Oh, wow. That's great. With
Sydney Mills and the incredible engineers and musicians down in Jamaica. So we have a lot going on. We're releasing more music this year than we've ever released before. We're hitting new markets. We're expanding in all the ways that we need to expand and, reaching new people and trying to hit those big festival stages, like you said. I completely agree with you that the caliber of this band is incredibly high.
Yes.
And not only are we, a high caliber band, but we're a unique band. I want to give big respect to all the female reggae musicians out there. This is a vastly male-dominated genre in a lot of ways, especially classically. So to see the amount of female artists and female-led bands that are out there now is super encouraging and super important. Joanna is among the best vocalists and performers that you're going to find.
Yes, she is. That's a fact.
And, we're happy to try to represent that scene and like raise up that side of the scene. So, we want to shout out all the female artists, from the incredible, foundation artists like Marcia Griffiths and Sister Nancy and Lady Anne, to the current sort of female reggae superstars out there, ranging back from like Gwen Stefani, who's like now a country star, to Hyrie, to Ellie Mack, to Article Sound System, and Logan Rex. Like there's so many. Natalie Rise.
Oh, she was just on my podcast. Have you ever heard of Holly Cook from the UK?
Holly Cook.
Dude.
Exactly.
I don't think I've had a podcast where I can't figure out a way to bring her up somehow. She is phenomenal, but yeah.
Well, the stable of female reggae musicians is busting out. I
Sure.
mean, it's serious, and I'm so happy to see that representation in the genre, and that's a big part of our mission statement. Like, let's get that Women of Reggae tour going. Like, let's go.
Yes. Yeah, and
Um,
you do it well, man.
yeah.
Joanna's fantastic.
hmm hmm
Absolutely incredible stuff. So you've kind of laid it all out for us. So give me like a. Do you have a 5-year plan? Kind of where's your musical journey heading in the next few years? I know you're touring. I know you're putting out music. Maybe you kind of explained it, but do you have like a specific vision that you're kind of shooting for? Do you want to be headlining the big festivals? Do you want to be playing internationally? Do you have like, kind of a vision or something you're shooting for? Or are you just going with it?
Yeah, definitely. If you look at our listenership across streaming platforms, we
Mm-hmm.
have an incredibly large contingent of our listeners who are based overseas,
Sure.
in Europe, the UK, France, Germany, Amsterdam, and the
Right.
Netherlands. These places are streaming our music more than most people in America. So
Sure.
I would say one of our big goals is to get out to Europe and to hit the UK and hit the incredible, or to contribute to the incredible reggae music scene that's happening all across Europe, frankly. I mean, the Europe festival scene in general is such a different animal than the stateside festival
Well,
scene.
they're bigger.
They're huge. I mean,
Yes.
and it's just a
They're definitely
different,
bigger.
like, the reggae scene in California has exploded, and in
Sure.
turn, it's made the national scene here in the U.S. really explode.
Yep.
But it's just a different animal over there
It is.
in Europe, and I think also our music really fits well into that sort of space.
Sure.
We are a band that's like not only like heavily influenced by the roots of reggae music and roots reggae, but our sound like really reflects that and
Sure it
hasn't.
does.
Of course, we have a lot of influences in terms of other genres, but a lot of the Cali reggae is like heavily influenced by like rock,
Right.
so to speak. And it's sort of, I mean, reggae rock is a genre, you know what I mean? That is a thing. And that's not really the Europe
No.
reggae vibe, if
Right.
you will.
Yep.
So I say all that to say that like SunDub's music is an international sound. It's being received incredibly well overseas in Europe and also in Latin and South America. We have an incredible fan base in Brazil, in Mexico, and in all of the Latin countries down there, Colombia and Venezuela, Argentina. So we want to stretch out SunDub into all these places, and we're excited to be working with international artists on the Brooklyn Riddim to sort of start to move into these different markets and sort of cross-pollinate our fan bases with some of the Latin reggae fans and musicians, and the same with Europe. I mean, we want to take SunDub international for sure.
Amen.
I'd say that's probably the biggest sort of, I'm going to call it a medium to short-term goal,
Sure.
to be honest. Beyond that, I mean, we want to just build this thing to a place of comfortability, sustainability, and be able to, bring this music to our fans as long as we can. I think that's really the goal overall, is to like take SunDub to a level where we can viably get our 7-person band to all of the pockets of the world that like need our music, because it's a challenge strategically, logistically, monetarily, for all the reasons that being a musician has its twists and turns.
Sure.
This is what we're focused on, and that's why we make music, and that's why we spend so much time trying to develop our fan base here in the States and globally. So yeah, we're ready to take this as far as we can for as long as we can and reach as many people as we can.
Good. Well, the world needs to hear it. You guys are absolutely fantastic, and I can definitely relate with you overseas. My podcast gets downloaded about Indonesia a lot. It's huge, but yes, and I love that. You know that your message is reaching internationally. You know, it's going beyond borders. It's such a beautiful thing. I am so excited for you guys. I love your music so much. You're absolutely incredible. You represent everything that reggae is about. Ben, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, man.
Yeah.
When I hit you up, you got back to me. It was a very awesome exchange. Working, talking back and forth with you the last few days has been an absolute pleasure. And we made it happen. So just from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, man. It's an absolute pleasure to see you on stage, actually be talking to you face to face is fantastic. So thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to everything that SunDub is doing in the future. Real quick, can you just kind of tell everybody where to find you guys? Websites, obviously you're streaming your music. Is there anywhere we can go to find some SunDub merch or check you out online?
Yeah, so everything SunDub can be found at sundubmusic.com.
Cool.
All of our social handles are at SunDub Music. You can go to our store and get all the merch for SunDub, which I designed the vast majority of all the merchandise. So
Nice.
if you like the merch, thank you.
I love it. It's a
take
roster
that,
color. Yeah, I love it, man. It's really good stuff.
That's a personal compliment. But yeah, store.sundubmusic.com for all the merchandise. You can find our tour dates on our website. We're on all the streaming platforms. Anywhere you listen to music, you can find SunDub. So yeah, just go out there and support any way you can. Listen to the music, buy the merch, send us a message. We love to hear from our fans wherever you are and talk to you and hear what you're up to, hear how the music has been treating you and so forth. So yeah, reach out to us. We're on Instagram all the time. We're talking to a lot of the artists that we work with on the Brooklyn Riddim. So I'll be on tomorrow with Cass Haley, talking to him about his track. So
Nice.
yeah, come check out SunDub Music at our website, all socials and everything.
Fantastic. Well, once again, thank you so much. And folks, if you've never heard SunDub before, I can guarantee you're a fan now. So there's strength in unity. Build your community. You can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on TikTok. Hippie-Fari. Only Hippie-Fari in the world. I'm really easy to find. Email me, hippiefarirareggae@gmail.com, and check out my website, hippiefari.podbean.com. This is Scotty the High-Strung Hippie, reminding you to speak your mind before somebody else does it for you. And do something nice for somebody today. Grab flowers for your partner, smoke out a stranger, slip the homeless man a buck. But whatever you do, do it from the heart, because all good things start with the heart. Peace, love, and Rasta rhythms are all a part of that reggae revolution. One love, fam.